the Palm Beach County Commission voted to rename Southern Boulevard from this very Palm Beach International Airport to Mar-a-Lago, the Donald J. Trump International Boulevard. So he's had a major impact, not just in our state, but here in Palm Beach County, and it's an honor to push forward this legislation to rename the airport after him, and would appreciate your support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. Well, that ends public appearances. Members, we're on debate on the bill as amended. Any debate on the bill as amended? All right, seeing none. Senator Mayfield, you're recognized to close on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I think Mr. Iowasi said it the best. You know, President Trump is the first president that Florida has had in our country, in our history, and I think it's very appropriate for us to be naming one of the other icons in Palm Beach after him. And for that, members, I ask for your favorable support.
Very good. And fortunately, he is a Florida resident now. When he ran the first time, he was a New York resident. All right, Marilyn, please call the roll on CS for SB 706.
Senator Arrington?
Yes.
Senator Davis?
Yes.
Senator Jones?
Yes.
Senator Martin?
Yes.
Senator McLean?
Yes.
Senator Trudeau?
Yes.
Senator Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Avila?
Yes.
Chair Masula?
Yes. Members, by your vote, will show CS for SB 706 reported favorably.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you
members.
very much. Next up, members will go to tab number 5, SB 1670 by Senator Osgood, specialty license plates, outsider. You're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity. If you don't mind, can I go to the amendment?
Yes, you're recognized to explain the amendment, barcode 883220.
Thank you. Senators, this amendment clarifies how the proceeds from the sale of the outsider specialty license plate may be used and aligns it with established practices of other specialty plates in the state of Florida. Under the amendment, the Huber Brothers Foundation Incorporated may use up to 10% of the proceeds, reducing it from 25% in the original bill. That is the amendment.
Very good. Having explained the amended bill, members, any questions on the amendment? Seeing no questions, do we have any appearance cards on the amendment? Any debate on the amendment? Members, you're recognized to close on the amendment, Senator Osgood.
Waive close.
Having waived closed, all in favor of the amendment, say yay. Yay. We'll show that amendment adopted. We're back on the bill as amended. Any questions on the bill as amended, members? All right. Seeing no questions, any appearance cards? Seeing no appearance cards, any debate? And so no debate. You're recognized to close on your bill.
Waive close.
Having waived close on her bill, Marilyn, please call the roll on CS for SB 1670.
Senator Arrington?
Yes.
Senator Davis?
Yes.
Senator Jones?
Yes.
Senator Martin?
Yes.
Senator McLean?
Yes.
Senator Trudeau?
Yes.
Senator Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Avila?
Yes.
Chair Masula?
Yes. Members, by your vote, will show CS for SB 1670 reported favorably. Senator Osgood, congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, members will go to tab number 4, SB 1054 by our own Senator Martin, traffic infractions resulting in crash with another vehicle. Senator Martin, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. The goal of this bill is to make our roads safer in Florida. Red lights and stop signs have increasingly become optional to many drivers across the state of Florida, creating serious public safety risks. This bill attempts to address the harms caused by those who run stop signs and run red lights without using cameras and without dealing with some of the concerns we talked about last year, enforcement of devices in someone's hand. Someone's driving on the road and they don't see a stop sign or they don't see a stop light that's red, and they run through it and they cause a crash, they were probably distracted, whether it was with a cell phone, whether it was with a CB radio, whether it was brushing their teeth. They were probably distracted. So this deals with crashes that are caused as a result of running red lights. What's going to happen now for a first violation is a $500 fine. A second violation goes to a $1,000 fine along with the 6-month driver's license suspension. 3 or more violations results in a $1,000 fine for each offense and a 1-year license suspension for each offense. Specifically, if you cause a crash and injure somebody, you're also now going to be required to carry bodily injury insurance for a year. So we're taking the most dangerous drivers on the road, those who don't respect the other drivers on the road because they're so distracted, and they're causing the most dangerous types of crashes, which are those T-bone collisions. They're now going to have to carry bodily injury insurance for 1 year after they cause a crash and injure somebody. That is the bill.
Very good. Any questions on the bill, members? Questions on this bill? All right, and I believe you have an amendment, barcode 427978. Senator Martin, you're recognized to explain that.
Thank you. This amendment clarifies when the draft was done, because we cited that mandatory bodily injury insurance to a statute that currently exists for DUI drivers. We wanted the 1 year, but the DUI drivers are supposed to carry the insurance for 3 years. So this clarifies that this bill specifically for these civil issues is only going to require 1 year of additional insurance, not the 3 years that's required for a drunk driver.
Questions on the amendment? Do we have any appearance cards? No. We're in debate on the amendment. Any debate? Senator Martin, recognize, wave close on the amendment. We'll show that amendment adopted without any dissent. We're on the bill as amended. Any questions on the bill? Members, questions on the bill? No? And we do have some appearance cards. Captain James Cunningham, you're recognized, and it's good to see you again, sir. And thank you for being here all the way from Naples, and he actually drove.
Good afternoon, Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and members of the panel. Thank you so much. I'm Captain James Cunningham with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office. I stand for you in favor of this bill. And going back about a year and a half ago, we had a mother driving her child and the friend of the child to school and was T-boned by a semi-truck that ran a red light in our community. As you can imagine, this was an individual who was very integrated within the community, and the community has truly shared their concerns with our sheriff as it relates to the number of red light running that we're seeing. And we're not talking about just simply a second or two. We're talking about a scenario where this truck was prior to the stop bar, at which time when the light turned red, and obviously causing impact to the cross traffic that had already entered the intersection. It was not too long later, we also had a school bus that was going to an intersection at 5:30 in the morning. Fortunately, there were no children on that school bus, but that red light had been red for almost 30 seconds at a time when a dump truck ran that red light, striking a school bus, throwing it into a spin in an intersection. Again, we stand before you asking for your favorable support on this bill so we can make sure that people are not only stopping at red lights but also stop signs. It's not a suggestion. It truly is part of the rules. And if it involves a crash, whether that's with or without injury, we believe the enhanced penalties are appropriate.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And thank you again for being here. Chauncey Jones, Florida AARP, waves in support. William Smith, Florida PBA, waves in support. And that ends public testimony. We are in debate on the bill as amended. Any debate, members? All right. Senator Martin, you're recognized to close on your fine bill.
I'll waive close.
Having waived close, Marilyn, please call the roll on CS for SB 1054.
Senator Arrington?
Yes.
Senator Davis? Yes. Senator Jones?
Yes.
Senator Martin? Yes. Senator McLean?
Yes.
Senator Trunow?
Yes.
Senator Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Avila?
Yes.
Chair Masulo?
Yes. Members, by your vote, we'll show SB for CS for SB 1054 reported favorably. Congratulations, Senator Martin. Now we'll move on, members, to tab number 2, SB 422, automated dependent surveillance broadcasts by Senator Wright. Senator Wright, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 422 defines automatic dependent surveillance broadcasts, or ADS-B, as an advanced aviation surveillance technology that combines an aircraft's positioning source, aircraft avionics, and a ground infrastructure to create an accurate surveillance interface between the aircraft and air traffic control. This legislation would prohibit an aircraft or a public or private entity from using information broadcasted or collected by the ADS-B systems, regardless of whether the data originates from an ADS-B in or an ADS-B out, as a means for calculating, generating, and collecting fees from aircraft owners or operators who operate aircraft within Florida's geographic boundaries. And that is the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. I understand you have a couple amendments, or a substitute amendment for the First Amendment. Do you want to just explain the substitute amendment?
Thank you.
You're recognized to explain Amendment Barcode 905100.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amendment barcode number 905100 specifies that the prohibition on using ADS-B for calculating, generating, and collecting fees specifically applies to the following circumstances. When the operation for which a fee would be assessed in a landing, including but not limited to a touch-and-go landing, or when the fee would be assessed based on an aircraft entering into a specific radius of the airspace of the airport, assessing the fee. And that is the amendment, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Any questions on the amendment, members?
Yeah.
Senator Davis, you're recognized in questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, why are you prohibiting such fees? What's the issue around the fees?
And you're recognized, Senator Wright.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Davis, for this question. We are prohibiting the use of the ADS system for charging the fees.
Follow up?
Yes, Mr.
You're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that. And so I guess that's what I want you to explain. Why are you prohibiting the ADS systems from the fees? What is the issue around that?
You're recognized.
Thank you. That's, again, a very good question. The ADS system is something relatively new in avionics, and it's a system that's been required by the FAA to be installed in aircraft that allows the aircraft you're in to speak to any other aircraft that are in the area basically for avoidance, to protect against mid-air collisions. Unfortunately now that beacon, that information is being sent out and it's being picked up by a service that then says you were close enough to the airport, you probably did a landing or you probably did a touch and go, and therefore 60 days later you get a bill in the mail for that when you did not land there and did not do a touch and go.
You good with that, or you
Does that
have
make
a
sense?
follow-up?
You want to explain another? Yeah.
So if you do land there, they can charge a fee. If you
Okay.
physically land there. If you do a touch and go, there may be a fee charged. But if they use the ADS system to think that you landed or that you flew by, you just flew by, and the radio picked that up, that radio signal, and they go, we're going to charge you a fee. And you're probably going to see that invoice 60 days from now
Okay.
and go, what in the world is this for?
Okay. I explained it. Yeah, I got it that way.
Okay.
Very good. Any further questions?
We can be back on the bill.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Okay.
Thank you.
Any appearance cards on the amendment, members? All right. Any debate on the amendment? Okay. Senator Wright, you recognize the close on the amendment.
Thank you, sir. I'll waive closed.
All right. Having waived close, we'll show that amendment adopted without opposition. Now we're back on the bill as amended. Any questions on the bill as amended? Senator Arrington, on the bill as amended, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Senator Wright. We were talking for a few minutes before we started, so did want to ask some additional questions. Is there any worry, or does SB 422 risk federal preemption by regulating the use of federally governed airspace surveillance data?
You're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that question. This information that's broadcasted by an ADS-B in or ADS-B-out is only a limited range, far enough to be able to send your information to another aircraft and to the ground controller, knowing that you're there, what your altitude is, possibly what your direction and your speed is, depending on which system you have, to help avoid mid-air collisions. That's what it's there for. And it's not tracked for any other reason. But there is a product now out that is wanting to track this information and possibly share that with an airport such as the airport you mentioned earlier, and they then might in turn send out an invoice for a landing or a touch and go. That didn't really happen. You were just close enough for that system to pick up your ADS signal.
Follow up?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And kind of along those same lines, we started discussion beforehand, and my worry is, and do we worry that this incentivizes pilots to disable or avoid or don't want to use the ADS-B where it's beneficial but not legally required?
Thank you for that question. It is legally required. ADS is required on aircraft. I know what it cost me to put it in my aircraft, and it wasn't cheap, and it's there for exactly the reasons that I've explained, to make sure to try and eliminate mid-air crashes. And so you're correct. What's happening in some cases is pilots are turning off their ADS when they think they're getting near an airport that might pick up their signal and send them an invoice for something they didn't actually do. And it's just a matter of time that pilots will share, don't go near this airport or that airport, because they're going to try and pick up your signal.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my understanding is basically you're saying that it's doing the opposite of what it's going to do, the opposite of what I'm worried about. I'm worried that pilots will turn it off because they don't want to be tracked as being near, and you're saying that no, this will actually help, that they will make sure that they are landed to be charged. And then is there any mechanism or anything that they would prevent them from turning this off so then they could not get charged then even for landing?
You're recognized.
That's a very good question. I do not know the answer, but most everything on an aircraft has a breaker within reach of the pilot, and they may be able to terminate the power to that unit. So the goal of this bill is to try to eliminate the requirement of, not the requirement, but the desire of pilots to turn that system off so that they don't have the chance. So when you take a smaller private jet, maybe a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seater jet, and it's owned by a group of people, they're not going to sit back home and go, okay, did we ever go over this airport? Do we know? They'll end up probably just paying the bill, because it's going to be considered a small bill compared to what the fuel charge was if they actually did fill up with fuel. So we're trying to keep the pilots safe, keep the ADS-B on, and eliminate the possibility of false invoices.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is my last question. And Senator Wright, is there any worry about how this will affect the smaller airports like the one I discussed in my district, these general aviation and enterprise fund airports compared to the larger commercial airports where they have more diverse revenue sources?
You're recognized.
Thank you very much. A good question. As you probably know, the airport that you've referenced is financially a little bit weak right now. There's been almost $800 million lower in their accounts than there were before. And I think that they see this as an opportunity to try and find some revenue source. And so we have the information on that airport, which I won't name, but we have a lot of information on that airport and what's going on. This is by no means harming any airport. This is protecting the rights of the pilots and the safety of the pilots to not be charged for something they didn't do. If an airplane or aircraft actually lands at an airport, it's probably landing there for a reason. It's going to taxi to the ramp, and everyone's going to know the end number of that plane. And even if the aircraft is doing touch and goes, the tower can see the end number of that plane, and that information you can put in any Google search, and it'll tell you who owns that plane. Yep.
Very good.
Thank you.
And Senator Wright, for clarification, your bill truly doesn't have anything to do with interfering with FAA regulations. And then also the other question is, airports won't be allowed to use the ADIS data for landing and calculating landing fees, and they'll have to just use the counting of airplanes as it's traditionally done, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, both of those are correct. There is we're trying to actually support what FAA requires is effective working ADS systems to help protect pilot safety.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, any appearance cards on the bill? Yes, we do have some. Carlos Perez, you're recognized. Mr. Perez,
Chairman,
nice to have you.
Senators, thank you. I have a short statement to read here. pilots obey the laws of physics. Failure to do so can lead to dire consequences. We comply with federal aviation regulation. As a whole, we are a law-abiding group. When the FAA mandated implementation of ADS-B, we put forth the effort and expense to install it in our aircraft. The result, safer skies. Now this entity, forgive me.
It's okay.
Now this parasitic entity known as Vector has latched upon us, a blood-sucking insect to extract substance from the flying community as punishment for our good deeds. I urge the committee to pass this bill, end the abuse. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Tiffany King, President of CEO of Florida Airport Council. Ms. King, you're recognized.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Avila, and the rest of the committee. I've had the opportunity to speak with several of you. Just wanted to be here today to speak for some information to kind of help clarify some things. And certainly what the Chair just said and Senator Wright, this bill does not prohibit our airports from charging landing fees. So I want to make that clear. Airports can still charge landing fees. This bill is only focused on the ADS-B technology. However, this technology has been available since 2010 commercially for airlines, airports, aircraft financing companies, and others to use it for commercial purposes. So this bill has come to light here in the Florida legislature over the enactment of landing fees at an airport in 2025, but it has actually been used by our airport for numerous fee collection reasons for several decades now. So you can even go back as far as 2007 and see an ADS-B rulemaking in the federal government where it talks about this being used for commercial purposes. So essentially for an airport who's currently using this, and you will hear from one today, what it does is it does make it more labor intensive. As the chair said, they will have to go back to more manual means. So essentially we could see an increase in landing fees in some airports that are currently using this model to collect fees. We have heard in meeting with Senator Wright and the House sponsors some different anecdotal information about the turning off of the ADS-B systems. In speaking with the state contractor Vertower, who monitors the ADS-B system, they do not see this being an epidemic where pilots are turning these systems off currently in the two areas that currently charge landing fees. And we have also talked to their controlled tower operations who are not seeing this as a problem in those areas as well. So we want to continue to work with Senator Wright. We had a great conversation with him and our House sponsors to try to get this bill in a position that accomplishes what you all are trying to accomplish while still allowing airports to collect the fees that they're mandated to collect from the federal government. So thank you.
Ms. King, I have just one question. Are you a proponent of the bill as amended now?
We do appreciate the amendment and feel like it's moving in a more positive direction. So today I'm only speaking for information because we want to continue meeting on this and helping you all kind of understand and get it maybe in a different posture.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for being here. David Pollack, Director of Tallahassee International Airport. I like the ring of that. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee members, I come before you today to just give you a little information. At Tallahassee, we have had this program in place for over 4 years. We were one of the first to adopt it. I take very seriously, I've been at this airport now 31 years, and I take very seriously the responsibility that we have to all our partners to provide a safe, secure, efficient, and user-friendly airport environment for all of our airport users. That includes commercial aviation, that includes general aviation, military, business. I like to make sure that I cover the gamut as I speak to groups like this because it's important that you recognize all the different nuances. A very complex regulatory environment that we're always navigating. The probable cause documents that the National Transportation Safety Board will ultimately release in the accident that's now over 1 year old in Washington. I would encourage you to follow that and to watch that as we continue to track ahead. we certainly do. Ever-changing regulatory environment that we live in. But first, I'd like to just give you a little of my background. I am a proud graduate of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I have retired from the United States Marine Corps Reserve with both active duty and reserve military experience, 5 overseas deployments. So I've been on plenty of aircraft, large and small. My brother's a captain with United Airlines. His wife is a captain with Southwest Airlines. And my daughter, a week from Monday, she's just now passed her 1,500 hours and is on her way to becoming a commercial pilot. So I've lived this for especially these last 1,500 hours with my daughter, and certainly understand the concerns that are out there. We do it very responsibly here in Tallahassee, and we consider several things as a part of our decision-making as we press ahead. Again, this is for information only. I certainly make myself available to anybody, and Senator Wright, and certainly happy to work with you. I agree with the Florida Airports Council's position. We would like to work on maybe some further tweaks to it, recognizing kind of where it's at right now. As I said, we navigate these complex regulatory environments. There was once an accident that had happened, and it changed taxiway geometry design standards, for example. You know and have undoubtedly heard about increasing and escalated construction costs that are out there. So just know that every time we do a capital project at the airport, we're making it more safe. We're bringing it up to those latest FAA design standards and guidelines that are out there. FAA issues what they call advisory circulars. In my case, at Tallahassee, we receive both federal and state funds, and so as a part of that, those advisory circulars become mandatory, right? And so,
Sir, thank you so much. Could you keep your testimony just to the subject of the bill and
yes,
try to be concise? But I will say thank you so much for your service to our country. We really appreciate that.
Okay, I'll wrap up, and my apologies. But again, happy to work with the committee as needed, or the sponsor of the bill. Certainly make myself available. I'm proud and happy to work with Florida Airports Council. And I think I'll just leave it at that for now. But again, thank you for the opportunity.
May I ask you just one question, sir? Do you use the ATIS data to calculate landing fees currently?
Yes, so we do use the ADSB data. We use a weighted, if you consider, in this case, general aviation as a percentage of your total operations on the airport, and then consider your general aviation as a percentage of your total landed weights at the airport. All these things matter because each one of those aircraft touching down on that runway. So the latest amendment is a move in the right direction. I think there could be a little bit more work to do, but each time they're hitting, if you consider paint, markings, rubber removal, all these things, friction testing that we do with the state, all these things that we are doing behind the scenes to try to keep things safe. So.
Mm-hmm. Senator Wright, you're recognized for a question as well.
So the service, you're using a service.
Yes, sir.
And what % do they get of the fees?
Currently, they get 16%. We're hitting the tail end. We were one of the first airports that started this. We certainly intend to negotiate that down as we
Follow up.
Move ahead.
Follow up.
You're recognized.
So this is something that you did before, and now you're using this service that's taking 16% of your revenue to charge the fees that you were charging before.
I would submit to you that I am making, because there's other operational reasons that the system is valuable to us. It's not just that. Under Federal Aviation Regulation Part 139, we have an obligation to protect the public. If you consider a flight instructor, true story, flight instructor that might do a flight into Tallahassee as a part of flight training, and then that flight instructor gets out of that aircraft on an active movement area, that's a problem. All right.
And if I may ask one more question.
Certainly.
Sir, we're talking about an ADS system.
Yes.
Not an instructor that gets out of the plane after he brings it to a full stop on the runway. How does ADS that you're using through a service protect anybody that you wouldn't already see from the tower or from the ground saying, what are you doing? You can't be parking in the middle of the runway.
It's all a part of the systems, methods, and procedures
Thank
that
you
we
very
use
much.
to keep
Thank
people
you, sir.
safe. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have one other question, and again, thank you for being here. Tallahassee is a controlled airport. Could you use tower data as far as aircraft that actually land and do touch and goes to help with your counts on runway wear and tear?
It becomes inefficient administratively. The previous question, we make more in 1 month using the system and getting accurate information from the system. FBOs might, for their vested interest, offer discounts and things of that nature. So we used to have the FBO collect it, and we found that there were little side deals going on in the background that offered discounts, and we weren't receiving the full value of the revenues and all.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. Thank you again for being here. Roy Creel, Ron Creel, I'm sorry. You're recognized, sir. And can you just let us know what you do, Mr. Creel? Are you with the Airport Authority as well?
Well, my name is Ron Creel, and I'm not with the Airport Authority. I am an avid user of ADSB in that I've been flying for 63 years. I started as a cadet with Civil Air Patrol, and this is the 7th meeting that I've been to, folks, about these issues, and I consider myself an expert in this field. I'm a user. I've went through everything from a high school pilot to a college pilot to flying for 4 different military branches, law enforcement, medevac. I ran the whole gamut, sir. I'm a certified flight instructor in many, many different types of aircraft. And after everything is said and done, and I've heard all the arguments for landing fees, for enforcement, for surveillance, for putting citizens at risk, and all this other stuff, the bottom line is, as this previous gentleman stated, he has to collect money for his airport, and I understand that. The little guys, the little Cessnas and Pipers out there, that's the backbone of our flight programs and the multi-billion-dollar industry in Florida, we're not hurting your airport. It's like your kid riding a bicycle on the sidewalk and you're saying that you got potholes in the road. We're not doing the damage. I wonder, in the previous gentleman's conversation had, if we did not use ADSB at all, we prohibited, this bill passes, how would it affect his revenue? The big iron that goes in there, they're the ones that are going to make the money. The airports can make the money right now and would continue to make the money from them. As Senator Wright mentioned, these guys don't do touch and goes. When you bring an executive in, they're not doing training. They're going to come in, they're going to walk into your airport, and come corporate pilot's going to hand you a credit card. He's going to buy your fuel. He's going to pay a ramp fee to the FBO. And if you add one more line on that invoice for the city of Tallahassee charges a landing fee, money's going to be pretty much the same. In our situation, one of the arguments that we did, and one of my colleagues is going to expound on that a little bit more, we offered the city a better deal. This, when everything is said and done, in my opinion, this all comes down to one word: safety. Suppose I developed a way to charge you every time you use your seatbelt, but I'm not going to tell it to you until 6 months or 6 weeks down the road. That's what's being done to the pilots. A lot of pilots don't even know that this is being done until they receive a bill. If you're an aircraft rental agency, like one of my other friends who owns 10 airplanes, he has people from all over the world come here to fly in Florida because Florida is the world's leading flight schools. Our weather, our equipment, everything is great here in Central Florida. We don't have mountains, we don't have ice and snow, usually. Today I'm not so sure, but usually. And all these people come over here. So a guy comes over here, rents an aircraft for a week, spends a lot of money in Florida, travels around, hits all of our tourist spots, goes back to, and I've trained pilots from Poland, Switzerland, Germany, France, Australia, Austria, all over the place. They come from all over the world to rent this guy's aircraft, and he uses me, as the insurance requires, to check out this pilot. Then they go back home. Then my colleague gets a bill and says, oh, This guy from Japan went to an airport that charges landing fees. Now I got to go back and ask this guy 6 weeks later to pay that landing fee. We believe that that's not the right way to do business. It adds excess cost to small operators, not the big guys. The big guys, they're going to walk in and hand you the corporate credit card. This bill is all about safety. Everything's said and done, it's all about safety. Passage of this bill, there's been anecdotal, as they said, about people turning it off. I would like to just read one line that I think is paramount to the day, since it happens to be almost on the anniversary of the crash. The NTSB released their statements at 9 o'clock this morning. One of the final statements is the Army Black Hawk was roughly flying 78 feet higher than its authorized altitude because of a barometric failure. Additionally, a key system that would have broadcast the helicopter's location had been turned off by the Army. There's 3 other incidents like a site that happened in 2025 from private pilots. If you get on social media, as I do, and you get on social media and you read many, many pilots, avoid this airport because they're charging. By the way, there's only 2 states in this, 2 airports in the state of Florida that are charging landing fees. This is one of them. The airport I happen to fly out's the other one. We are called reliever airports. Out of 79 reliever airports in the United States, only 6 charge landing fees. And as the previous speaker mentioned, it is weighted. This has a weight limit above a certain weight. Ours has above a certain weight, and other places have the same thing. So I just want to say that passage of this bill will continue to keep us safe in the air. You turn it off, these guys will turn it off. Trust me, it's happened. I mean, you can read about it. I'm not going to listen. I'm just going to turn it off. I'm not going to be paying bills, et cetera, et cetera. Let's please eliminate that, and let's keep safety paramount and keep our people alive. I thank you for your time, sir.
Very good. We appreciate you. Did you move down here from Pennsylvania?
No, I'm Maryland. Actually, I'm
you're
a
close.
Floridian. I was born here, sir.
All right, very good. Well, thank you. Donald Frano, you're recognized, sir. Thank you for being here.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for giving the forum for us to be heard. It means a lot. I want to, before I get into what I want to say, I just want to make really clear what ADSB is, because I know a lot of folks in the room are not aviation people, and it's just like, what are these acronyms, and my head's swimming. But in short, we used to rely on radar. You know, airports would have radar go out, picture where your airplane is, comes back, and that was updated about once every 10 seconds. So it'd be a dot here, and then a dot here, and then a dot here, and you project. ADSB is a new technology that transmits from every airplane to every airplane and ATC at the same time, and it's updated about once per second. And it reports to me and all the other airplanes in my airspace, this is the direction I'm flying, this is how fast I'm going, I'm climbing, I'm ascending. We have technology in the airplane that will give us warnings. There's an aircraft at your altitude, 2 miles, same direction, you know, and it gives us a chance to get ahead of that. On top of that, when ADSB was introduced, ATC used to take 100 planes, let's say, and fit them in this space, and now we have this technology, we're tightening that space down. So we have airplanes that are flying a lot closer together than they used to. So ADSB has been an absolute game changer for safety, and it's I think my friend Ron said before, it's better than sliced bread. It's just been an amazing shift for aviation. So that is the fundamentals of what ADSB is, and it was installed at the aircraft owner's expense. It was mandated by the FAA in 2020. And when the FAA mandated, I think one of the really key things to understand is that ADSB's intent, its purpose, and its sole existence is for safety. We are there to protect lives. We're there to minimize on collisions. That is the focus. And it is, without a doubt, the #1 focus. Now, today, I speak to you on behalf of 3,200 pilots in an advocacy group I represent, as well as 7,200 signatures we have on a petition asking the federal government to also protect ADSB strictly for its original intentions for safety. And, you know, we were assured, there was a conversation went on in the background with the FAA, with the pilot community when they were introducing this. There was actually assurances made it would not be used for billing, and it would not be used as a source for enforcement actions, at least as a primary. So here we are. It is being used in the way that we were told it wouldn't occur. And just to clarify any question about that, even our own airport manager in Kissimmee, when he was presenting this contract before the City Commission on September 17th of 24 in a public meeting, he acknowledged, he said this was never intended to be used for revenue, but he stated it was the most efficient way to collect the fees and avoiding labor costs. So I also want to dispel a perception that pilots don't want to pay the landing fees. It's about landing fees. A number of us pilots went back to that, to the airport, actually the city manager, the city mayor, and we presented a better plan, and it didn't use ADSB. It allowed them to collect fees with just a slight structure modification. They would have actually gained about $50,000 a year of revenue over what was projected. That proposal, for whatever reason, was not pursued, but it would have hit all the bullet points for revenue. The only downside is it would have had them cancel the contract with Vector and stop using ADSB for it. And so unfortunately, they didn't pursue that. Now, safety is the first obligation of an airport manager or of anybody responsible for airports. And I think in choosing the riskier option that they did, it sets a very dangerous precedent. And so, we're really asking, as you support this bill, you're safeguarding from these sort of things down the road and to keep pilots safe. Another example, just kind of put it more plainly, we would never discard our constitutional protections because enforcement is easier. Imagine an officer waiving the Fourth Amendment because it's just easier to do law enforcement because I don't have to respect the intent of the Fourth Amendment. And I think this is very similar to that. As far as the consequences go, we talk about touch and goes. Again, probably, what is that? A touch and goes thing that pilots have to do very frequently to practice to make sure that our skills remain sharp. It's when you come in and you land an airplane and then you take off and you go back around and do it again and again and again because we need to stay proficient. Late takeoffs and landings are the most dangerous parts of flight. It's where the biggest accidents happen, and encouraging the proficiency and staying on top of it is very, very important. This bill would help protect airports from penalizing people from doing those safe operations. Imagine a pilot who, he knows he's got to pay the bill. He's on a bad landing, and if we are on an approach and our landing looks bad, we do a go-around. It's proper protocol. But a pilot may be forced to make a bad landing happen, increase the chance of an accident to avoid the fee. And so this was never intended for revenue. And, the two things I think that are the sides we want to ask you to protect is just the misuse of the technology for revenue when it was never intended, as well as I think there's a part of us is just the right thing to not make sure pilots get surprise bills well after the visit. There is right now, if you fly into Kissimmee, very little way to know that bill is going to be there. It is on their website if you happen to go down and look for it. But other than that, it's not published and well known. So I thank you for your time. Ask your support in this bill. It's very important. It will save lives. It will keep aviation thriving in Florida with the massive amount of revenue that we enjoy.
Thank
you.
You're welcome. Senator Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. First of all, I appreciate you for breaking it down. I am no pilot. I do have Flight Simulator on my phone. I feel like I'm a pilot. But
it's good. It's good.
But just for clarification purposes, you made an analogy as it pertains to the you said stop and go?
Touch and goes, yes.
The touch and goes. Can you how the touch and go? Can you just expound on that just a tad bit more? And how does this? How does the ADSB? How does that relate to that one more time? I'm sorry.
Sure. So right now, I have to use Kissimmee because that's my local airport that I fly out of. And I'll also mention I'm not in this professionally. I fly a small plane. I own it with two guys. It's a recreational thing for us that we use, take the family on trips, that kind of thing. So we are in Kissimmee. They are watching your traffic come in on ADSB. And if you do a landing and a takeoff, they are now charging for every single one. So if I go up and I'm doing safe practice and I go do 10 landings, if you're coming in from an outside location, now Kissimmee is waiving the first landing for aircraft that are below 5,000 pounds per day. But if I want to go fly and do 10 landings and I'm below 5,000 pounds, I'm going to pay $3 per landing times 9. just to go up and do that safety. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot. You think pilots, they got money. Not all of them. And then if you take flight instruction, for example, that's a very, very important part of flight training. And do you know Florida issues 25% of the pilot certificates in the country? The flight training industry in Florida is $8.5 billion a year industry. And the key part of flying that's just so impactful is those practices, those touch and goes. It is the most dangerous phase of flight. You probably may have heard of a stall. It's when a plane gets too slow in the sky and just loses lift and falls out.
That happens quite often when we not play the game.
It does. and that's what we're trying to avoid: airplanes falling out of the sky. And if you get out of practice or you don't get enough of that, muscle memory to do it right and make sure you stay safe, we're compromising safety and the benefit of revenue that could be collected through other means.
We thank you for that because, Senator Jones, he's got a good understanding of a touch and go now. He's thinking more stop and go because that's what we do in the legislature.
Yeah, I'm about to do the training in a few minutes. I am.
And I'll just add, we do stop and goes for nighttime currencies. We have to come to a stop on the runway and go. So
okay, got you.
You're halfway there.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much for your time.
All right. Raul Correa waves in support. Joseph Pytel waves in support. And Rich Spoler? Am I saying that correctly? Spoler. Well, he's not here, but he waves in support. Oh, is he? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, there you are. Thanks. And Joseph Piscarelli waves in support. Very good. All right. Members, we're in debate. Debate on Senator Wright's bill. Senator Arrington, you're recognized in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Wright. I came in today as a no. We had a conversation. I think I'm almost more confused on this bill than when I came in, to be honest with you. But I hear a lot of the positive feedback. I know you've done some work on it. I am going to be in support of today, but I do need some further conversations with my locals. And then also I know you're still working on this, and I'm sure I will see it again. But just want to thank you for your changes you've made so far and being open to others. And looking forward to seeing this in the next stop and hopefully it even getting better. Thank you.
Very good. Any further debate, members? Further debate? Oh, all right. And we have another appearance card. All right, I'm sorry. You were on the original amendment, and Stacy Heaton, you're recognized, and I'm sorry I missed you on the amendment. You're recognized. AOPA, Aircraft Pilots Association.
Yes. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Senator, thank you so much for your support so far. My name is Stacy Heaton, and I serve as the Southern Regional Manager for the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, simply known as AOPA. Some people say AOPA, but it's AOPA. We represent hundreds of thousands of general aviation users, and we are the world's largest aviation association. The majority of our members are negatively affected by the misuse of surveillance data that was intended for aircraft safety and efficiency. And so some of my remarks you have already heard. We didn't coordinate very well on what we were going to say. Apologies, but I think it's worth it for me to say it again. This bill will assist in limiting the misuse of the ADS-B data, and we support its passage. As the world's largest aviation association, we were at the table with the Federal Aviation Administration leadership when the implementation of ADS-B was planned. The mandated equipment would cost our members an average of $5,000 per small aircraft, and we knew that it would be a hard pill to swallow. With an agreement to offer a small rebate to spur installation, and with the verbal commitment that this technology was only for airspace safety and efficiency use, we supported the effort. Pilots can now have better situational awareness of other aircraft near them. Air traffic control can have better situational awareness as well and hone flight paths to manage the skies. And this equipment saves lives every day. We want more aircraft to install and use this equipment for the benefit of all, and this bill will help us to encourage its installation and use. Sadly, with the improved technologies, some businesses may want to exploit its use. Businesses are using the safety-based surveillance data to market to airports as a way to charge aircraft operators for each landing that they make at an airport. Takeoffs and landings, for those who aren't in the piloting world, so now I'm repeating some things here, they are the two critical phases of flight. Takeoffs and landings are so important that even after achieving a pilot's license and additional certifications, the FAA requires that pilots maintain a minimum currency to exercise their privileges. We should all want pilots to do better than just meet the minimum currency. Policymakers should want pilots to be proficient as possible, and that requires practice just like any other skill. And the greater skill comes with greater safety. Airports that misuse ADS-B data to charge for these skill-building operations pose a safety threat because now pilots might not want to practice due to the costs. Now let's talk about other things that many take for granted. Many people prefer traveling to distant places to enjoy some well-deserved time off. How about emergency medical flights when the time is of the essence? Or firefighters that help control fires from the air, or surveying an area or region after a devastation, which we see all too frequently here in Florida, or a medical team that delivers organs to save a life, or an ag flight operator that helps the upkeep of farms. The list goes on, including getting our beloved Amazon deliveries faster. Well, how about that Fortune 500 company executive that needs to get somewhere quickly to make a business deal, and a deal that could potentially impact the employment of thousands of Floridians? Well, all of these things that I'm talking about, they require pilots, and those pilots all begin their training in general aviation aircraft, small aircraft. The passage of this bill will prevent an additional financial barrier to entry into an already highly technical and expensive field, and it will help the future pilot pipeline for those much-needed services. This bill is even more important in Florida, as you've heard earlier from a previous speaker, is because we are home to one of the largest flight training regions in the world, and it serves as an important economic driver for the state. And one last thing I'd like to add on, one more aspect of this technology that we should be aware of. It's not always accurate. Sadly, we receive reports from members that have been erroneously charged for a landing that never occurred, that has been alluded to here. Unfortunately, the dispute of such charges is on the back of the aircraft owner or pilot. If not paid, our members have valid concerns about credit reporting issues, or worse, things like, will a lien be put onto my aircraft? And what happens when I go to sell my aircraft? And it's something that they cannot easily disprove. So the passage of this bill helps eliminate this issue for many aircraft operators in Florida. But make sure it's clear. This does not stop an airport from charging fair and reasonable landing fees. And pilots that utilize an airport will go to an FBO, and there's other opportunities beyond using this safety data to bring in that revenue for the airport. I'm done. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take any.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you being here. Again, I'm sorry I missed you. Further debate? Any further debate, members? All right, Senator Wright, you're cleared to bring this plane in for a landing. Close on your bill.
What's your tail number? 86 Lima, clear to land?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
How about CB?
So thank you all for all of the for all of you coming today. I think a lot of us here in the committee now are better educated on what goes on in the private aviation world, and this has been a real concern. And I've spent a lot of time on this particular bill, and I will appreciate your favorable support to make sure that we keep safety in private aviation and commercial aviation number one. Thank you.
Having closed on his bill, Marilyn, please call the roll on CS for SB 422.
Senator Arrington?
Yes.
Senator Davis? Yes. Senator Jones? Yes. Senator Martin? Yes. Senator McClain? Yes. Senator Truneau? Yes. Senator Wright? Yes. Vice Chair Avila?
Yes.
Chair Masula?
Yes. Members, by your vote, will show CS for SB 422 reported favorably. Does any senators wish to be recorded on votes before the committee today? Anybody came in late? All right. Okay, seeing no further business before our committee, Senator Davis, move we rise. We are adjourned without objection. Thank you.